Oh wait. You have to introduce us.
Heart Rate Project by the Test-Icles, Sarah, Valeria, Scott, and Jessica. Our hypothesis. People who exercise less than 3 hours a week will have a greater change in heart rate after exercising on the bike than people who exercise more than 3 hours a week. Our other hypothesis. Chronic coffee drinkers will have a lower change in heart rate 5 minutes after waking up than a non-chronic coffee drinker.
Nicely done.
Data collection. Data was collected from previous and current human anatomy and physiology students of different age and gender. Heart rate was monitored under a variety of situations that could show us how heart reacts to different scenarios. That word is misspelled. Examples would be exercise, caffeine, sleeping, etc. Am I really reading this word for word?
You bet.
Yes, I am. Our background research.
Exercising regularly is known to lower heart rate. More exercise leads to a stronger heart, which leads to less pumps. Refer to lecture notes about athletes. Coffee increases heart rate, especially in people who are not immune to it and rarely drink it. People who are chronic coffee drinkers can become desensitized to coffee effects the more you drink it. Does that make sense?
This is a graph of our first hypothesis, which was wrong.
Wah, wah.
Interpretation. People who exercise any amount have the same change in heart rate after exercising on the bike. If bike exercise was for a longer period of time, we probably would have seen a greater difference in heart rate between the two groups.
Ooh.
Graph hypothesis 2. Hypothesis 2 was wrong.
Clearly we're not smart.
Interpretation. Chronic coffee drinkers have a greater change in heart rate than non-chronic coffee drinkers 5 minutes after waking up. Chronic coffee drinkers probably have coffee within 5 minutes of waking up, which would be why their heart rate had a greater change.
Boom. Oh.
Conclusion.
In order to test hypothesis 1 more accurately, we need to measure greater amount of time spent exercising to be able to tell the difference in people who exercise regularly and people who only exercise a couple hours a week. In this case, there was not much change in heart rate due to insignificant time difference. Our second conclusion. Chronic coffee drinkers will always have a higher heart rate due to their caffeine addiction. And the reason is that they probably have their first cup of coffee within 5 minutes of waking up, whereas people who are not addicted to caffeine and don't have their first cup of coffee within 5 minutes of waking up will have a lower heart rate. Non-chronic coffee drinkers need a very small amount of caffeine to have the same or higher change in heart rate than chronic coffee drinkers.
This whole project has made me want to exercise more. I'm starting right now.
Go, Scott, go!